Dave Asprey's dramatic weight loss is wrapped in a dangerous package that will actually cause you to give up on your own fat loss before you really even know what's going on. So Mind Pump had a very unique, unhinged interview with Dave Asprey, but love him or hate him, this really needs to be looked at. And if you really want to dramatically change your body as fast as possible, you need to see this.
When I weighed 300 pounds, I said, I'm going to lose this weight. It's the most important thing on earth. I went to 24-hour fitness. I tracked it. I went 90 minutes a day, 6 days a week, half cardio, half weights. Maxed out all but 2 of the machines. I still have a couple of the overhead press things. My shoulders are just not right for that. But other than that, max every single machine out. The cardio, because my knees already had 2 surgeries, weighted backpack, 15-degree incline. Oof. I was not going easy on myself. Sure. If I was sick or I didn't get enough sleep, I went anyway. Yeah. Final exams, finishing up college, I went anyway. It was the most important thing. So 702 hours, 18 months later, I think I'd lose some weight, right? No. 46-inch waist, still weigh 300 pounds, but I could max the machines out. I was stronger. Oh, and I went on a low fat, as low calorie as I can manage diet, which of course means low protein, right?
Yeah. Okay, so right there, did you spot it? There's a major red flag. So Dave says that he would hit the gym for 90 minutes 6 days a week. But he would actually do that regardless of whether or not he was sick or actually got sufficient sleep. There are countless people out there that are determined and dedicated to actually transforming their body, but they're running into this same issue, and you might actually be one of them. You're so dedicated to actually getting the results, but yet it's frustrating you because you're actually lacking one of the most important things that you need to actually be able to get the transformation that you're looking for. But what's crazy is Dave actually then reveals some shocking information that makes this whole lack of sleep and lack of recovery even more dangerous. Okay, but before we go on, there's something that just doesn't add up here. And I can't be the only one that sees this. But Dave says he maxed out every machine in the gym. Am I the only one that finds that hard to believe? That's very unlikely, in particular for a normal person who's casually going to the gym, but even for someone who's dedicated, someone like Dave Asprey, who's focused on constantly going, maxing out, I mean, some of those machines get up pretty heavy. But what makes this even, in my opinion, more unbelievable is just the fact that he said he was eating as low calorie as he possibly could. I mean, low carb, low fat, also low protein. Based on his own words, it just, I don't know, can't say, but it is a very odd thing that doesn't quite make sense to me, and I'll explain why. So he was eating super low calorie, and that meant even cutting out protein. He even mentions in another interview that I saw of him where he would be eating at like fast food joints with all of his other friends who weren't fat, and they were eating whatever they wanted, and here he got the salad, but actually would just cut out the chicken because the chicken was too high calorie, so he'd just be eating the salad. So anyways, the point being is he's eating incredibly low calorie, very low protein. It is very, I can't say never, but it's very unlikely that you will build that much strength by eating that low of protein and that low of calorie, and particularly though, that low of protein. Okay, now I'll give it to Dave, like maybe he's just being a little hyperbolic here, which, with his kind of personality, I mean, I could see, but it's funny though that he mentioned specifically there was 2 machines that he did not max out.
Maxed out all but 2 of the machines. I still have a couple of the overhead press things. My shoulders are just not right for that.
I don't want to get hung up on this. I'll take his word for it, but it doesn't quite add up. But here's the thing though, is that when you're increasing strength and then you can lift more, you are by definition adding muscle, because increases in strength, yes, there's some CNS adaptation that'll occur, some skill, but by definition, I mean, you can't avoid building muscle as well. And frankly, it's the most objective way to actually determine if you are adding muscle, because you're increasing your lifts, you're able to lift more. So know this, that whenever you are in doubt of whether or not you're adding muscle based on what, the very subjective view of what we're seeing looking in the mirror, just look at your lifts. Are your lifts increasing? Are you getting stronger when you're working out? That's the biggest indicator. And if they're going up, you're in a beautiful spot. Just stay there. Now, when you're adding muscle, more muscle by definition means you're going to need more calories, because muscle is metabolically expensive. It requires more energy. And therefore, it's almost impossible for you not to see some sort of body composition changes. And when I say body composition, essentially what I'm talking about is the balance between muscle and fat. And so more muscle is going to lead to that body recomposition, which is what gives us the look that we want, less fat and more muscle. Also, you can just get a really nice shirt like this one. I'm like shocked with these shirts. This is not a sponsor, just letting you know, Filebach, love their t-shirts, just got this new one. Speaking of which, while we're talking about it, I mean, it fits tight around the arms. It's You know, it's loose around your belly if you got a little bit of an extra gut. But even if you don't, I mean, it still looks good. They've got nice V-necks. They've got all sorts of things. They're not a sponsor. I'm just telling you, I love the feel is super soft, super flexible, makes you look good, makes you like you got a bigger physique than you actually do. But I keep links down in the description to anything that I use, so feel free to check them out. Again, not a sponsor, just love them a lot. And therefore, you're going to see some changes in body composition when you're adding muscle, which is exactly what Dave said that he saw none of. Now, in order to actually continually see increases in strength and in muscle, you have to actually be recovering well, which Dave clearly was not recovering well or sleeping well based on what he's telling us. But what's crazy is what aggravated this even more is what he admits next.
Especially when you have toxic molds that are 10,000 times more estrogenic than human estrogen. That cause cows to get fat on 30% less calories. They make humans do the same thing.
Did you have mold toxicity at this time?
I did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I grew up with that. In fact, I had my hormones measured when I was 26, and he goes, Dave, your testosterone's lower than your mom.
This is really eye-opening, and just the fact between the mold toxicity and some of the other genetic factors that Dave actually references at different points in this interview that caused a lot of the difficulty that he was dealing with trying to lose this weight that he just couldn't get off. But not even losing 1 single pound? I don't know. Okay, but all that aside, the mold toxicity does increase inflammation in the body. And do you know what else increases inflammation in the body? Lack of sleep. And that increase of inflammation within your body is going to absolutely wreck and derail any chance that you have of trying to lose fat and build muscle. Now, he would argue that he was just a mess. And frankly, I mean, he was kind of right. He was dealing with a lot. But here's what I want to remind you too, is that if you want to look better and you want to feel better, don't get all hung up and caught up on some of the deep things that Dave's own story tends to present, things like mold toxicity and different genetic factors, because that can really cause you to get discouraged and depressed and to feel like you don't have the power that you do. Yes, can those play a role? Of course they can. But what I want you to focus on is what you have tangible power over right now, and it's the foundation. You have to build all of that on the main building blocks. So start with that foundation of sleep, protein, training, water, whole foods. Those are the basic building blocks that you got to get in order first. Before then, you can even think about some of these other things. But there's one more red flag in Dave's story that you absolutely need to know if you're trying to lose body fat. It's that Dave didn't drop a single pound, which does not mean that he did not lose fat. Because when you want to lose fat, but you also start strength training, you got to remember there's, like I've mentioned, body recomposition that is taking place. Fat loss is occurring, muscle building is occurring. They can occur at the same time in a few different scenarios, in particularly in the scenario of someone who's new to lifting and who has a significant amount of weight to lose. We want less fat, obviously, and we want more muscle because that creates that aesthetic and that physique that we're looking for. But the scale is just merely one, it's one metric in the entire equation. So the scale going up or down does not mean fat loss or gain inherently. There could be a lot of other factors at play, muscle being one of those factors, because when you add muscle, the scale will increase because that's additional lean mass on your body. And so that means, and take this from my own story as well as all the other experts out there, you cannot rely solely on the scale as your indicator. Honestly, the best metric that you could use is objective metrics, things like your strength. Are you getting stronger in your lifts? Are they steadily, continually, how many more times can I say that, increasing over time? And then on top of that, just look at how are you sleeping? How do you feel? What are your energy levels? But if you do want the best way to actually prime your body for fat loss, watch this video right up over here. And as always, go get strong, but first, just go give your kids a hug like I'm about to go do, because frankly, I think family matters more, and I will see you over there on the next video.